Am I free to go?
I want my lawyer now.
I want a lawyer right now.
Mr. Nolan, it's for you. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Welcome back. April 15th, 2020. The virus continues to claim lives and infect people. Germany claims a 0.37% fatality rate. Ineffective testing leaves the United States with a rate that bounces between 3 and 4%. The impacts of this are going to shape the United States for the next 40 plus years. Children, home from school, catch snippets of news decrying the worst of expectations. Little kids think their parents are going to die. They see empty shelves and they start hoarding. Adults have started hoarding as well. Government has responded by issuing orders that blatantly and painfully violate American civil rights. Orders that are so outrageous as to become memes. The world as we knew it just 6 months ago has ended. We are in a new era. An age where freedoms and liberties cannot be taken for granted. An era where we must practice what we preach. The city of Kirksville and its shelter-in-place order required that people employed by essential businesses receive and carry on their person letters on business letterhead, as if that grants some kind of authority, to prove that they are employed at an essential business. The letters may be requested by law enforcement. And yes, this smacks of Nazi-ish or Stasi-esque approaches. Just like in 1984, neighbors are being asked to turn in their neighbors for leaving the house without permission. And Big Brother is turning to constant surveillance to track those people that leave their home without permission. Small acts of defiance are already occurring. People post memes, and in the letter that required for my employees, I included the following paragraph. Quote, due to the requirements extremely, scarily similarity to that of the Stasi or Soviet Russia, and the city of Kirksville's failure to require that the letter be in English, I am providing the rest of the verification in German and Russian. And then I did so. None of my employees have been stopped and asked for their papers as of yet. But from the news stories, it is coming. I hear reports of police departments stationing cars outside of homes of people with positive tests for the virus. The cars sit there as a not-so-veiled threat against the people residing in that home. A signal to the rest of the neighborhood and others that this person is dangerous. This person cannot be trusted. This person is a criminal. The departments make no explanation as to for how they violated that patient's medical privacy rights. The departments are making no explanation for how or why they feel they can abuse their power and kidnap those people by illegally restraining their freedom of movement, threatening them up to the level of gunpoint under the color of authority. There are no quarantine orders in these cases. A quarantine order is a separate issue. And if you are ordered into quarantine, we understand. But if you simply are positive, that's not a quarantine order. And the actions by those departments, those actions are despicable. They're an insult to our Constitution and to our way of life. If forced to choose between the American way of life and American lives, we can only choose the former. Okay, it is a Hobson's choice with little positive in the answer that we select. But if we sacrifice our freedoms and our way of life, the bodies will eventually fall anyway. We've seen it before. Everywhere the authoritarianists have won, the bodies have been buried in mass graves in numbers that make this virus look like a mild case of sniffles. Cambodia, Vietnam, China, Russia, Germany. This time will be no different. Some politicians are already calling to snatch firearms. Some are calling to remove the ill and those deemed at risk. And it's far too easy to slip political opponents onto those lists. Still others are proposing more scary measures, such as implanted chips to scan for information about a person easily to prove that you've been vaccinated when there are vaccines out. And the monetary system is failing again. Okay, if written in a fiction setting, this would be a dystopian novel that people would not be able to accept. The readers would not suspend their disbelief long enough to even get to the main plot points. In short, it would not be believable. Yet here we are. with people manufacturing masks at home under belief their homemade mask might help protect against an airborne virus, with black markets already forming and violence on the horizon. True violence that America has not seen in the heartland and elsewhere since the days of Jim Crow and the Civil War. Never doubt the lengths a starving mother will go through to feed her child. Many of us have seen this before. We've seen it in Iraq. We've seen it in Afghanistan and Kuwait. We've seen it in Serbia. Once the gloss of civility is tarnished, once the forest of laws protecting us from the darkness become rotten and crumble, once we allow the American way of life to be sacrificed on the altar of safety, the dream dies, and the shining city on the hill will shine no more. You have a choice. Today, now, later, tomorrow. You have a choice between tyranny and freedom. That's it. The risk that some of us may fall to a terrible illness, or the certainty that we will all fall in the aftermath. There are protests forming. People are starting to stand up and say that this is enough. It is enough. It's time to start securing our liberties as opposed to temporary safety. Thank you.